Hello and welcome to Basic Black. Some of you are joining us on our broadcast and others of you are joining us on our digital platforms. I'm Tanisha Sullivan, your host. Tonight we're going to talk about free community college and Black Americans' trust in the news. The Pew Research Center recently released a survey finding that Black Americans believe there is work to be done by the media when it comes to covering Black Americans in the news. Ron Mitchell is the co-owner, editor, and publisher of the Bay State Banner, and he joins me remotely to discuss this Pew survey. Hi, Ron.
Hi, good morning. How are you today?
Fantastic. How are you?
Wonderful.
So, according to this study, of about 5,000 self-identified Black Americans from around the country, folks believe that the media has a lot of work to do when it comes to building and restoring trust among Black Americans. We know that you, of course, lead one of the nation's oldest Black newspapers. What are your thoughts about this survey?
Oh, I think this survey is spot on. When I took a look at it, it really talked about the trends in our industry. You know, being an industry media and journalist for so many years, I watched the news change from what I would call producer-driven, where real stories were told, to being driven by clicks, and the most amount of responses you can get from your story, that's what drives the story. And when you tack to the most emotional part of a story, then you always skew the actual journalism within that story, and that diminishes it. And for African Americans, we suffer from that. As we know, it's the easiest thing. The Black guy did it. You know, all the tropes, all the stereotypes. And then in the mid, 2018 or so, when the political environment turned up on racism and became a lot more volatile, all these new networks came up that, basically were race baiting and were trying to move a political agenda by, blaming and stereotyping and scapegoating. So we as African Americans, Black Americans, certainly should have got a bad taste in our mouth from the media trends. Now, what we see after George Floyd, and this is also in the report, is that a lot of major news network newsrooms are trying to get and hire more African Americans in the management behind the scenes. If you're in the newsroom, if you're helping to produce that news, you change the way that news is presented. But, African American newspapers have a very strong backbone and history in this country and a very big responsibility in providing accurate and community news. So it's good that that network is still there, because the mainstream media, there's still a ways to go to really make the news about us, about our community, fair and truly balanced.
One of the things that was interesting to me coming out of this survey is, of course, within the Black community, there is a desire for there to be news presented from all perspectives, all sides of an issue. But of note is that this holds true across political ideologies. So regardless of how Black Americans identify politically, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, what have you, we all want news presented in an objective manner, giving us the information we need to make informed decisions. How are you working to ensure that that's the case with the Bay State Banner?
Well, here at the Bay State Banner, we have a diverse set of reporters, and we really drill down on stories. We're a weekly, so we're different than a daily where every single story has to be started in the morning and finished in the afternoon, or where there's a tighter schedule. We're allowed to talk with more people involved in the story and make a more well-balanced story and really drill down on the issues that are important to our community. The various different things that are going on in the Franklin Park area, Madison Cass, the educational system, not just in Boston, but statewide. There's a lot of very important issues, and we really try to identify the most important things that affect our community and really tell the true perspective of our community, which isn't always told in the other outlets.
Thank you for that. The media has always been an important part of our democracy, and certainly as the world continues to evolve and there continue to be so many issues impacting not only the Black community but our communities writ large, building trust in media will remain critically important, and we look forward to following your work with the Bay State Banner. Thanks so much, Ron, for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much, Tanisha Sullivan. I do appreciate it.
Now, on to our main discussion. The opportunity to attend college and earn a college degree gives all students, and in particular students of color, a chance to advance in their careers and improve their quality of life. Here in Massachusetts, residents 25 and older without a degree can apply to attend community college for free through a program called MassReconnect. We have a dynamic group of panelists to discuss this new initiative here in the Commonwealth and how it could change the economic outlook for many students of color. Joining us tonight, Jackie Jenkins-Scott, Interim President of Roxbury Community College, Dr. Patrick Tutwiler, Massachusetts Secretary of Education, Dr. Pam Eddinger, President of Bunker Hill Community College. She is also a member of the GBH Board. And Nehemie Desulme, a Roxbury Community College student currently enrolled in MassReconnect. Welcome to you all.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
It is exciting. I'm looking forward to this conversation. This program, Dr. Tutwiler, was actually has been discussed for many, many years, this type of program. But this year, of course, Governor Healey announced the launch of MassReconnect with great hope and promise. Could you share a little bit with us about what this program is and, equally as important, what's its intended impact?
Yeah. So first, thanks for having me here. And it's great to be here in community with my colleagues and with this incredible student. There's two ways to think about this program. And I'm going to take off my educator hat and talk about it first as a workforce initiative. I think no matter what direction you look, what newspaper you pick up, what news you watch, everyone knows that in virtually every sector, there's a workforce challenge, right? Folks are dire for staff. I would say on the other side, as you look at the state of Massachusetts, there are approximately 1 million residents who have a high school diploma or equivalent. There's within that 1 million residents, there's 700,000 that have some college but have not earned a degree. And so you have a challenge and you have an opportunity. And we married both of those with this proposal, which provides free community college for residents aged 25 years and older who have not yet earned a college degree. And when I say free, I mean free. Okay. Tuition, fees, books, supplies are all covered by this program. Putting my educator hat back on, we're all in the business of creating the conditions for our students to realize their dreams. And we believe that this program provides a pathway to do that.
Wonderful. So, Nehemie, you are one of the enrollees in RCC through this program. Can you share a little bit with us about how you heard about the program?
Well, I'm starting to start by saying thank you for having me on this beautiful panel. So I heard about it through the dean of the college. So it was, there was a program they did in January, and then he was telling me that as one of the student of honor in the school, I shouldn't pay for my tuition. So he was the first who told me about it, and then on the summer, when I went to register for fall, and then I saw all of the posters in the college everywhere, and I saw it in the news and all of that, and I was very, very excited about that opportunity that, you know, the state is giving me, especially as a black female immigrant from Haiti. And it is a great opportunity for me and to pursue my education, that I don't have to pay anything for my books, my tuition, and none of that is free.
And so what's your dream?
My dream is to become a lawyer, so I'm starting with the criminal justice system. The reason why I would like to pursue that path is because I see so many injustice in the community. So I would like to be a part of that change. So that's why I would like to be in that field of work.
Wonderful, wonderful. This program has great promise. And, you know, we are fortunate to have two of our esteemed presidents from our community colleges here in the city of Boston. I'm actually going to start, Dr. Eddinger, with you. Could you just share a little bit about how this is working on the ground?
Well, it is fantastic on the ground. We looked at some numbers now that we're firmly in the fall semester. We package close to 650 students, wow, half of whom are continuing. So the opportunity not to drop out because you run out of money, you know, we were able to provide that. The one quarter is completely new to us, drawing in from the pool that probably the secretary had noted. And then the other quarter are actually folks who have dropped out in the past 2, 3, 4 years ago, mostly because of financial challenges. So we know that even in these early days, that the potential is there. I am expecting a wonderful tidal wave of folks coming to me in the beginning of the spring.
Yes.
And to cover, you know, really a lot of opportunity and to feed the workforce.
Yes.
Which is clearly, you know, what the governor's intention is as we started this program.
And President Jenkins-Scott, we know that that you've been doing a lot of work in and around the RCC community to ensure that folks understand the gem that it is. And so when you, as you all have rolled out this particular program, how has MassReconnect really helped you advance your strategic priorities for RCC?
So one of the things for the college is to grow, and we really are just thrilled. We have 35% increase in enrollment this term, this fall. So it's very exciting that this opportunity, the nursing opportunity that the governor also made available, all nursing students can get free tuition and books covered. So between MassReconnect and the free nursing program, we think this is a great opportunity for our community. We have so many students who've had to drop out because of financial reasons. They can now come back and finish their dream, complete their dream, complete their opportunity to add income for their families. And so it's very, very exciting.
And so how are you, we have wonderful programs here in the Commonwealth, in and around the city. One of the things that we've got to make sure we're doing is getting the word out. So that people know that these resources are available. So how have you and your team thought about getting the word out, helping folks know that these opportunities exist for free college education?
So one of the things the governor did, which we really appreciate, is that they have created a whole rollout of this to advertise it and make sure that the entire Commonwealth knows about it. And they've provided some funds for each of our community colleges to also, create programs specific to our communities and the students that we serve. So I always say it would be a shame if our community missed out on this opportunity. So I think from the governor all the way down to the on-the-ground community, our staffs are all fully aware of this. And when we see a wonderful student, we say, you can qualify for this. And let's make this available. Now, the thing that's happening is we're going to run out of money because the good thing is that the word is getting out. So I think the governor and the secretary are committed to making sure that as we get the word out and students apply and get accepted, we have enough support to support all the students who need this service.
And so on that front, I mean, how do we ensure that that a program like this is not only sustainable, but that we can look to potentially expanding it? Because, I do want to acknowledge that when the announcement was made, there were some folks who said, well, why is it just 25 plus? And so folks who are 25 plus. So what are you thinking about? What's the administration thinking about, Dr. Tutwiler, as it relates to the sustainability of this program, but also the expansion of the program?
So first I'll say we started with residents who are aged 25 years and older because the average age of a community college student is 26. And so that felt like an appropriate place to start. This was not a plan that was hatched in a back room. It was done fully in communication and in collaboration with community college presidents around what's an appropriate first step in terms of free community college. And there's unanimity around the idea that the MassReconnect approach was an appropriate first step. There's a lot of enthusiasm, from the Senate president on down around this idea of free community college for all. There was an allocation in this fiscal year to study that, to understand how we would make that so, and that work is underway right now. But I would say that we all see this as an important initiative, a workforce initiative, one that supports creating pathways for residents to move to earn a degree and industry-recognized credential. And so there will continue to be support for this. And I will say that President said that we're going to run out of money. That's actually a good problem, right? We built this on the science of FAFSA completion several years ago. What's an estimate of what we think might happen? If we exceed that, that's a good thing.
It's great.
Very good thing.
Yes.
So on that, I think one of the things that I want to talk a little bit more about is this program as a workforce development support. Certainly we know the data tells us that communities of color will benefit significantly from this type of programming. But generally speaking, a program like this, free community college for folks who are 25 plus, many of the students we know are already working, a part of working families. How are you at Bunker Hill really providing supports to your students who are in the workforce already, balancing both career and education?
Right. So about 50%, half of all of the undergraduates in the United States are in community colleges. And we know that our population is dropping. We're not going to have a whole lot of young people going into either college or the workforce, at least 25% less over the next decade. And we know that our gateway cities are growing. That's where the population is coming in. And our community colleges is really the backbone to receive these new immigrants, right, into the workforce. So we know that we're the backbone. You're right. Higher education right now for the population that we serve is a luxury good, right? All the opportunity costs it takes for them to stop a portion of their job so they can come back to school and spend that time on training for these emerging technologies that we talk about in healthcare, IT, AI, and fintech. All of these things are available for them, but you have to give them dollars in order to offset the opportunity cost so they can support their family, so they can take care of their own parents as well as being parents. So this idea of having MassReconnect pay for the opportunity costs, and the colleges providing what I call wraparound services, right? Basic needs. I mean, every one of our public institutions have a food pantry. We have provisions for childcare, either through vouchers or physical facilities. And we do a lot of coaching, right? A lot of first-generation students our education system is not necessarily designed for them. So what we're doing is to make sure that they are supported on their way up. As much as it's important to have students come in to have access, it's just as important for them to be retained. Right. We do not want to get these folks caught in a revolving door, right? So we want 100% of those 700,000 students who have some college, no degree to finish. And that's the workforce, because we do experiential learning and internships and all of those things that while they're coming through with us, we're connecting them to businesses. So that really is the key, right? So I'm hoping that, our wonderful student will be interning at a law firm so that she can, move her way out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for you, Nehemie, would love to hear a little bit more about that law firm experience. So we're going to get that. We're going to get that in. But also we have an opportunity now for more folks in our community to experience this educational opportunity. What would you say to someone in our community who's thinking about going back, but is a little bit hesitant, what would you say to them?
I would tell them that the program is true, and I am one of the students who is, part of the program. And I would tell them, don't wait and get enrolled as soon as possible. And the first step is go to the school they would like to go, and then get information about it and know how to apply for it and do it. And the great thing about it is last week I received a check for the remaining money that I didn't spend. And then after I pay for my books and all of that, they cover everything, and then they sent me a check. Mm-hmm. So I was so excited about that. I can use the money, to pay for other expenses that I have. And so many people, when they heard about the program, they don't believe it, even with me, because I know I was struggling, even for the spring semester to pay. I had to pick up extra shift while I was working and studying full-time. It was so hard for me. And when I heard about it, I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, why not? And let's try it and see. And I tried. It worked. Now I can say that I'm studying for free. And I am so thankful about this opportunity that I have. And now I'm studying that I don't have to, worried about where I'm going to have the money to study. I am only focused on my homework and doing, my homework stress-free. So it's a great opportunity. I would tell them to apply as soon as possible so that they can get enrolled, because it doesn't matter the school that you go to, community college, because it's free now. They don't have to worry about anything else, but pursue the education, pursue the dreams like I am living my dream right now.
That is wonderful. And I look forward to calling you Attorney Desulme, okay? Yes. You listen, you got to speak it into existence.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And this is wonderful. And so speaking of that, I mean, we're talking about a program that really helps. This particular program helps to reconnect those who are 25 plus to our public higher education system. We know that there are a number of other programs. We're very fortunate here in the Commonwealth and in and around the city, a number of other programs that provide support to folks. How do we, Dr. Tutwiler, how do we also think about making that connection between the community college experience to the four-year college experience so that folks can continue to pursue their educational pursuits as they're striving toward their dreams? Right,
so they can become the lawyer that they... So there are existing systems in place, and as a matter of fact, I was earlier this week at UMass Lowell, and they talked deeply about how a significant percentage of their student body comes from the community college. And so those relationships between our four-year public universities and community colleges are really, really strong. The credit transfer system is also robust and strong. And so when we think about MassReconnect, the goal obviously is not just access, it's completion. And we also want to measure our students when they finish the two-year program. Are they employed meaningfully? Are they moving on to four-year programs if that's what they want to do? And so we're blessed in that we have existing systems. We just want to push and continue to progress monitor.
Absolutely. And so President Jenkins-Scott, in our final minutes, could you talk a little bit about how at RCC your team is intentional about helping to make those connections between RCC and the four-year?
In Massachusetts, we're blessed, and particularly in Boston, we have a very robust higher education community, both in the four-year and the two-year. We have two great community colleges in Boston alone and 15 across the state. So our job is to make sure that our students have opportunity wherever they want to pursue their next round, whether it's work, whether it's college. And so this opportunity of reducing your costs for higher education through free community college is going to open up all kinds of avenues for our students. So part of the job is to make sure that our students understand what opportunities they have, whether they're in the public sector or the private sector, whether you want to go to pursue at UMass Boston, other public sector institutions. But we also have we have a great, robust opportunity here in Massachusetts for our students, and our job is to make sure they understand what's available to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very exciting.
Absolutely. And Dr. Eddinger, with Bunker Hill Community College, you are at the intersection. I oftentimes say you are right at the intersection of so much when it comes to the innovation economy. How, in our final minutes, how are you helping to ensure that your students are connected to some of those internship opportunities?
I do a lot of chicken dinners. And I'm looking at Jackie and Pat, and, and we spend a lot of time in community. And I think the understanding is that while we have those conversations at the C-suites to make promises that we will work with one another, our staff, our operations people are also plugged into HR operations in these companies, and so those internships happen.
I'm going to hold you right there, and we're going to pick this up on our Facebook platform.
Okay.
Because that is the end of our broadcast.
Yeah.
But we are going to stand by as we transition to our Facebook and YouTube platforms. We definitely want to thank everyone for joining us today. Stay with us. Give us a couple of seconds. We'll be on YouTube and Facebook, and we're going to pick up with Dr. Eddinger's cliffhanger of an answer. I'm Tanisha Sullivan, your host. We are on YouTube and Facebook with our post show, continuing our discussion on free community college. We had a cliffhanger on our broadcast with Dr. Eddinger, and so I want to hand it back to you to finish talking about internships specifically, and how we're ensuring that students are connected to all of the economic vitality, the growth that's happening around the institution.
Great. So there is a real body of work that happens between the employer sector, and we have wonderful employers in the greater Boston area in all these different industries, and the community college leadership, right? So Jackie and I spend a lot of time around tables with C-suite folks, CEOs, making those connections and explaining that we're the core of the workforce. And then our staff who are in the operational area, for example, our career services folks with the Learn and Earn program, they plug into, let's say, the HR departments of these employers, and they work on the specifics about how long the internship is, what are some of the outcomes, and the possibility of employment after. So you really have a pathway, right, from academics into the workforce, and allowing our students, many of whom are first generations going into professional work, the preparation of what it means to be in that environment. Now, at Bunker Hill, we do not accept any unpaid internships. All of our internships are paid because our students are good workers and good learners, and they have work that is going to be displaced, right, by these internships. So we have the guarantee that they have the opportunity costs taken care of. And it's worked. We've run probably anywhere between 150 to 200 interns every semester through all of our connections. And I know that this is a constant conversation topic, amongst the 15 community college presidents.
Wonderful. So, Nehemie, we all want to know about your internship.
Oh, my internship, it was, I got it through my criminal justice professor, Nona Zama. So she was the one who introduced me to the Mass Bar Association. So I got that paid internship over the summer. So, yeah, I get the money. And it was really interesting, actually, because Not that I am learning about criminal justice in class, doing homework and all of that, but I had that opportunity to experience it, to be there. You know, I was at the Roxbury District Court, so I was there working in the clerk's office. So I learned so much, and people there, they were so incredible, and I was there. Actually was an intern, and there was another intern. I was there to help him as well. So I was training an intern as I was an intern.
Okay.
It was very exciting, and it was a great opportunity for me to learn about the whole justice system and how it worked, and, you know, the in and out. So it was a great opportunity that I am already involved again on the MBA for another year with them also to get another internship.
Okay, wonderful. So you remain inspired and encouraged to pursue this career pathway. It's outstanding, outstanding. Yes,
add
absolutely.
One quick comment about the importance of something like MassReconnect, with her having to not have to pay tuition. That's a burden that's taken off of her, so that allows her to look at internship. When you're worried about money and having to pay for books and find all the things you need to do to just stay in school, that takes a lot out of you. So it's really, this program is really wonderful in that it opens opportunities for our students.
And about how many students, I know we were anticipating about 8,000 to 10,000, I think I saw was the numbers, but how many students do we currently have enrolled? Do we know, or who are benefiting from this program? Do we have a sense of that?
That I don't know yet. I know the community colleges typically around this time, much as the K-12 schools do, sort of report out on their enrollment. So I can't give you a specific number. What I can tell you anecdotally, as I go from city to city, town to town, community college to community college, is that we're seeing enrollment increases in community colleges ranging between 5 and as high as 30%.
Okay, excellent. You know, I'm curious because often I am insensitive to the fact that, you know, here in Eastern Massachusetts, you know, sometimes when it comes to the exchange of information, it at least feels like on some level it can be robust. I'm curious what you're hearing from some of your colleagues in like Western Mass and in Central Mass and some of our more rural communities about kind of the receptivity to this initiative.
So it's probably worth mentioning that marketing's happening at multiple levels, and some of it is direct marketing.
Okay.
Right. So we had a program where all 15 of us have identified a group of names of folks who've dropped out or folks who are potential, and we're calling them. We're not leaving any of this to chance.
Okay.
Right. So those connections will continue to happen, and that happens across the Commonwealth. So whether you're in the Berkshires or in Greenfield or in Holyoke, students are getting phone calls. And we all have websites that they can move into. And a lot of community college work is generational, and it's word of mouth. Right? So one person who's in a program can touch 10 or 15. And programs like Basic Block, right, that folks really tuck into, that are community venues. So we ask for the help of our media. Right? It is part of the public service of our journalistic community to help us get this out.
So what types of support, in addition to what you've described, would be helpful in getting the word out to more people? So
I would say that for folks who are listening, they are our community connection to the churches, to the YMCAs, to the Boys and Girls Club, all of these things. We don't need the students to know a lot other than to call us. Once you get them to us, we will lead them on. Right? We can't make it too complicated for students.
Yeah, very good.
And
oh yes, of course.
Interrupt and add one
it's not
more
rude.
layer. Okay,
this is, you know, living room.
All right, we're all family. Okay. We have intentionally and I would say pretty substantively connected with Mass Hire as well, to make sure that when they're having conversations with people in their respective communities, in their respective regions, that they know about this opportunity. Typically, this is an opportunity. Their interactions are around finding work. but this is also an opportunity to think about upskilling
Yes.
and re-engaging or reconnecting
Okay, yeah.
with community college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And so as we're starting to close, is there a general website that folks can go to learn more about MassReconnect, or because I'm coming over here, I'm going to give y'all, okay. If folks want to learn more about MassReconnect,
they can go on any one of the 15 community college websites, whichever one is closest to their community, and find information about this program. They can also go on the Massachusetts Department of Higher Ed website to find out information as well.
Wonderful. And for employers, President Jenkins-Scott, who have internships,
Yes.
they want to support our students.
Exactly. Each of our community colleges, we have a workforce department that's connecting students with employment and internship opportunities. Every community college has that, whether it happens through a professor or through our offices that handle internships and workforce. So we're excited and looking forward to even more.
Wonderful.
Placements.
Excellent. This is an exciting program. It really does speak to the importance that our Commonwealth is placing on education and public education specifically. And so definitely want to acknowledge and certainly celebrate the leadership of these two dynamic presidents. And of course, Secretary Tutwiler, you and your team, and Nehemie. We are watching and look forward to supporting you as you continue on in pursuit of your dream.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to so we're going to thank you all for being with us today, and I believe that is going to be the end of our segment for today. I'm talking about MassReconnect and free community college here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Thank you, sir.